I'll get to the arcade machines in a moment, but first, the cassette. Now it should definitely work. I cleaned the head in the Walkman. This is of course a custom mixtape, hence the price. So as I said, 15. But it's worth it because no one else has one like this. Here you go. Oh, nice tune, eh? What? The same thing again? Maybe it's the cassette after all. How about this? Just a cassette, because it's pretty and unique. For 20? No? Well, alright. Maybe someone else will be interested. The business is booming. At least it was so at the arcade shack they set up in our estate. It was a sort of a Drimawas wagon, but with arcade machines. Though it was a Fitzwan family kind, it wasn't small to us at all, but vast as a galaxy. And just like Drimawa lived in his house on wheels to defy the authorities, we, in a way, dwelt in these gaming caverns in defiance of our parents, sometimes even school. There was no inside, except for the glow of the screens and that noise. Well, I call it noise now, but back then, the interior of our arcade haven sounded as a full orchestra were playing there. Except, instead of the winds and winded, it had sections like Pac-Man, Tekken 2, Mortal Kombat 3, Space Invaders, Sega Outrun, Street Fighter 2, Formula 1, plus soloists on pinball machines. I have no idea how that geezer you got the tokens from could stand it. He wasn't deaf, because whenever we tried slipping in an old coin instead of a token, he'd immediately yell, "Hey, I'll show you old coins, you little sots." But that was the only time he came alive, really. Secretly, I thought, and I'm pretty sure the others did too, that he was actually an android in the skin of an old man. We were scared of him, and when he died, I even went to the cemetery after the funeral, just to make sure he didn't climb out. Well, he didn't. At first, the games ran on tokens you had to buy, but that changed, especially when people realized those tokens were worth a lot more abroad. Some of those savior ones started smuggling them out in bulk. Then, after the currency redenomination, arcades switched to coins only, so you had to make sure to always have plenty of change. The money going around drove shady types, and those arcade shacks didn't exactly have the best reputation. Or the lads would borrow money from the younger ones, never to be returned, or some brownie arcade shark would generously offer to help with the game, only to take over the controls while the unwilling sponsor continued to play. Well, metaphorically. Sometimes, when we go to the seaside, I take my boys to visit my uncle, who's into old video games and TVs. I told you it's a family thing. He's got over 300 TV sets, Polish, German, Japanese, Soviet copies of Japanese originals, all sorts and then some. And a ton of games, like a 4-player Pac-Man, where Pac-Man sees the whole screen, but the ghosts only see part of it. Whoever catches Pac-Man swaps controllers and the system keeps the score. He even has an old Pongs and first-generation consoles. It's a blast for the whole family because most of these games are super simple. Unfortunately, nowadays, the fun lasts about 2 or 3 minutes. My kids don't really care for that kind of graphics or mechanics. Back in the day, however, we'd be glued to it all day long, especially with a bunch of friends you could have tournaments with. All that faded away as the 90s came to an end. But it's not gone altogether. In fact, it's making a comeback. Old school games are cool again, or whatever the kids say these days. The official term is retro gaming. And let me tell you, original arcade machines can go for thousands. The problem is, finding a truly original one in Poland is near impossible. It's the same old story with us. When a game went out of fashion, it got a second life. Either as a new game running inside an old cabinet, or it was stripped for parts. That kind of applies to the 90s too. Highly original, with knocks off aplenty, inimitable, but with lots of nostalgic kitsch available from market stalls and online stores. Naturally, that's not all you could say about that period, not by a long stretch. Personally, I could go on for hours, but as they say, time waits for no one. So I'll just politely say my goodbyes. See you later, and take care. Oh, and a big shout out to the friends who whispered their stories into my ear. Cezary Molski, Cassette Museum, Maciej Deling, Pixelmania, recollections from Arek Kamiński's recording, Krystian Kujda, VHS Hell, Paulina Jarysz, Kornel Nocon, Marcin Starzomski, Printformers, Maciej Skrzypczyński, Sebastian Stecewicz, Damian Szkudlarek. I thank you too for your time and attention. Now, you're welcome to return to any part of the exhibition and continue exploring on your own. Though, let's be honest, it's not the same without me. If you wish, you can also record your own memories. The recording station is between the arcade machines, where you will find all the instructions on how to proceed. Please return your audio guide at the point where you collected it from. See you at the next exhibition at Zamek Culture Center in Poznań.